Most tourists believe that the Royal Guards are merely tourist attractions in London, but they perform very important roles at Buckingham Palace, such as protecting the royal family and dealing with tourists and crowds. Even so, some people cross the line when they mess around with the royal soldiers and then get scolded, even being threatened with firearms. These are the kinds of cases you will see now. It is not easy at all to put up with someone who bothers you without being able to react. In this video, a man stands right in front of a royal guard, while a crowd gathers around, watching the subject's incessant teasing. The man even argues that it is funny and claims that the royal guard cannot do anything about what he is doing. To intensify his provocative attitude, he starts imitating a robot in a mocking way, making exaggerated gestures. Even another tourist tries to intervene, giving the man a warning, but he continues his irritating behavior, disrespecting the guard's limits. The royal guard, who receives rigorous training to remain composed, starts to feel annoyed by the subject's behavior and loses his patience despite his intense preparation. No longer able to bear the provocation, he decides to act. With a quick and precise movement, he uses his hand to push the tourist firmly. The man then loses his balance and falls to the ground awkwardly, getting knocked out. The onlookers around, shocked by what just happened, begin to comment in low voices about the situation. In the end, the tourist remains knocked out, and the royal guard maintains his impassive stance. The royal guards use horses mainly in ceremonies and important events, such as the changing of the guard at Buckingham Palace, which is a popular attraction. They also ride horses on ceremonial patrols during special occasions, like royal birthdays or weddings. The horses are employed at protocol moments, representing the monarchy, but they are not part of the daily security activities. In one incident, a lady tried to take a picture close to a steed, but the animal, feeling stressed, ended up nibbling her arm, though not aggressively. The woman managed to get away, but when two children were passing by, the horse lightly bit a little boy's arm. The horse also pushed another woman with its mouth. On another occasion, a young woman and an older lady were about to take a photo with another steed when the older woman was nibbled on the arm, which spoiled the fun. The Royal Guard's horses are well trained, but they may bite in situations of stress or fear. If someone approaches them abruptly or invades their space, the horse may react by nibbling as a form of defense. This is rare, but it can happen, especially if the animal feels threatened or uncomfortable. It seems that everyone who travels to the United Kingdom, especially to London, loves taking pictures next to the Royal Guard's horses. A video that went viral on social media shows a young man named Ethan's stepmother posing beside a steed ridden by a Royal Guard to take a photo.
Step back with wings like that! Not cut the ring!
A few seconds later, the Royal Guard yelled, ordering everyone to move away from the steed and not to touch it. This startled the young man's stepmother, but it was necessary. A Royal Guard may request that people not touch the horses for safety reasons and to prevent the animals from becoming startled or stressed. Horses can react unpredictably, such as biting or pushing, if they are touched suddenly. Furthermore, this measure helps maintain order during the ceremonies and respect the traditions. Although this is done to ensure everyone's safety, including tourists and participants of the ceremonies and traditions, Ethan swore he would never return to London because the Royal Guard yelled at his stepmother. The Royal Guard's shift change is a very organized and ceremonial process, carried out mainly at Buckingham Palace, but also at other locations such as St. James's Palace and Windsor Castle. This event attracts many tourists and integrates the traditions and security of the British monarchy. During the change, the guards on duty are replaced by others, always with precision, great formality, and strict discipline. Even the Royal Guards need to rest. In a video posted on YouTube Shorts, it is possible to see one of the Queen's soldiers changing shifts with a colleague. Before reaching his post, he caused a small scare among the people around him by shouting, "Make way!" in a loud voice so that they would clear his path, as they were obstructing his march. Then he went on to his post, and the guard who had been there left. The shift change happens quickly, but always with great precision and without interruptions. The Royal Guards rest in military barracks, such as Wellington Barracks, located near Buckingham Palace. In these facilities, they have the opportunity to rest, eat, and prepare for their upcoming shifts. More than 500,000 tourists a year visit London to watch the Guards' shift change, which is a true British tradition. The event attracts many visitors, especially in spring and summer, when tourism is more intense, drawing families, couples, and groups of friends from different parts of the world. The changing of the guard is free and takes place almost every day, except for special reasons or unfavorable weather conditions, which contributes to the large number of spectators filling the square and the surrounding area. During one of these changes, a distracted photographer and a lady ended up in front of the guards on parade. The other people quickly moved aside to watch the march, but those two stood still. A royal soldier had to shout, "Make way!" for them to step aside, but it was already too late. The photographer and the lady were dragged forward, while the ceremony continued normally without compromising the course of the event. The royal soldiers wearing blue uniforms belong to the Household Cavalry, a specific division responsible for protecting the royal family and ensuring security at ceremonies and important events. This division is one of the best known and is involved in various ceremonial duties, such as parades and ceremonial patrols. One of these guards was standing in front of the Household Cavalry Museum gate, located near Buckingham Palace, when a woman approached him. She wanted to take a photo beside the soldier, and as she leaned over a bit, touched the guard's arm, making a playful gesture. However, it is important to know that it is not permitted to touch the royal guards. They are trained to maintain a strict posture and do not react to teasing or physical interactions, but any attempt to touch them is considered a violation of personal space and etiquette. When the woman touched the guard, he pushed her away with a small shove. The woman, somewhat embarrassed, realized her mistake and decided not to take the photo from another angle. Although it may seem like a good idea to take a photo with a royal guard mounted on a horse, nobody should touch them. It is important to follow the rules so as not to disrupt the royal soldier's work. In this video, a woman approached a horse on which a guard was mounted. Overdoing it, she even grabbed the steed's reins and got told off by the royal soldier. "Do not touch the reins." She moved away, and it seemed that everything would be fine. However, the woman came back, letting out a soft laugh, and once again got close to the horse. She received 2 shouts with the same order, "Standing clear!" Only after the 4th shout did she finally leave the scene, realizing she was at least being impolite and disrespectful toward the soldier's authority. If the royal guards fail to follow the rules, they can be disciplined and punished under the military code of conduct. This can also negatively affect the royal guard's image, which is one of the most respected institutions in the United Kingdom.
Stand clear! Stand clear!
The strict posture and the orders they follow are part of their role and importance within the British monarchy, and ensuring compliance with these rules is crucial to maintaining order, respect, and safety in the area. Therefore, tourists must also cooperate, respecting space and authority so that everyone can enjoy the ceremony safely and politely. In the Royal Guard's training, soldiers are instructed to follow a precise line in their movements. They cannot alter the marching pace or change direction. That is what happened in a video when 2 royal soldiers were marching, and along the way, one of them ran over a child. Nothing can interfere with the guard's walk. Thus, before stepping over the boy, the soldier ordered him to clear the way, but it was already too late. After being practically run over, the boy got back up and was fine, showing that the incident was not serious, though it frightened everyone around. In the comments of the YouTube Shorts video, most people pointed out that the boy's mother made a mistake by not getting him out of the way in time. Many also stressed the importance of keeping a safe distance from the guards to avoid accidents. A user was impressed to see that even after the incident, the soldier kept his marching pace and did not deviate from the formation, strictly fulfilling his duty and demonstrating the discipline that characterizes members of the Royal Guard. Although there are many videos on social media showing royal guards ordering tourists not to touch them, there are still insistent or stubborn people. A woman, for instance, tried to take a photo with a royal soldier and stood next to him. However, she made a mistake when she took a step sideways and got too close to the guard, accidentally brushing against him. As a result, the soldier shouted, "Do not touch the royal guard." Surprised by the outburst, the woman probably gave up on taking the photo. It is permitted to take photos with the royal guards, but it is vital not to touch them in order to avoid problems and respect the royal soldiers' work.
Do not touch the King's Guard!
2 royal guards were being filmed by a tourist who decided to perform a little dance and even asked someone to film him. He did this for 2 consecutive days and thought that nothing extraordinary would ever happen. However, one royal soldier in front of St. James's Palace did not appreciate that lack of respect and shouted at the man, who was rather old for that kind of prank.
Oh! Get yourself away!
The older man quickly pulled himself together and left the site, placing his hand in front of the camera lens so it would stop recording. It is not appropriate to dance or record videos in front of the royal guards because they need to maintain focus and a serious demeanor during their work. They are there to protect the royal family and ensure safety. Thus, any distraction or provocative behavior can interfere with that function. Respecting their space and not disrupting their activities is essential to avoid undermining the seriousness of their work. There is a bell that rings at Horse Guards Parade, the site where the guard change in London takes place. The bell is rung to mark the beginning and the end of the shift change or to alert people to special events. Furthermore, it may also be rung during periods of mourning, such as when members of the royal family pass away, or on other important and significant occasions for the monarchy. The bell's sound is a symbolic and traditional part of this ceremony, reinforcing the importance of every act carried out by the guards. During a simple guard change, the public surrounded the royal guard mounted on a horse. The crowd was noisy and inattentive, making it difficult for the professional to work. When the bell rang, indicating that it was time for the guard to leave his post, people stayed in the same place and even walked in front of the horse, blocking the soldier's path.
Get back!
This not only hindered his passage, but also posed a safety risk to everyone, as the horse could become agitated by the unexpected movement of the crowd. It was at that moment that the soldier shouted, "Get back!" so the crowd would move away. Some tourists, startled by the shout, quickly stepped back and followed the order. This ensured that the soldier could proceed on his way without obstacles. It is impressive how people can be stubborn about touching a royal guard. A woman, for example, struck a pose next to the soldier and ended up getting scolded for not respecting his space. The look on her face when she was reprimanded was priceless. For many tourists, London's royal guards are a very popular tourist attraction. People see them as part of the charm and history of the British monarchy. Many visitors go to Buckingham Palace or Horse Guards Parade to watch the changing of the guard and observe the soldiers in their ceremonial uniforms, with their rigid posture and impeccable behavior. For many tourists, it is a photo opportunity, and they try to take pictures or even interact with the royal guards. However, it is important to understand that the presence of the royal guards is not just for aesthetic reasons. They have existed since the 16th century, tracing back to European military history. Their main role is to protect the royal family and ensure the security of important sites, such as Buckingham Palace. In addition to taking part in ceremonies, they remain constantly alert to any threat. If something dangerous occurs, such as an attack or an attempted intrusion, they are trained to act quickly, blocking access and alerting the authorities. In other words, the royal guards are not just decorative figures. Their presence is essential for safety and protection. The royal guards must march along a specific route. Although there are no physical markings on the ground, the soldiers are so rigorously trained that they know exactly where and how they need to move during their marches and ceremonies. In this case, the soldier turned, looked at a woman who was in his way, smiling, and simply collided with her, since she did not step out of his path. Therefore, it is best not to remain in a royal soldier's way. If a tourist notices that a guard is approaching, the safest thing to do is move aside. In this woman's case, the soldier fixed his gaze on her, but the tourist did not move away. By disregarding the expected behavior and staying put, she ignored the seriousness of the traditions and protocols that govern the ceremonies and the soldier's work, which must be followed without exception. Tourists need to stop not taking the royal guard seriously. A woman wearing a brown dress and with red tips in her hair decided to do a little dance next to a royal soldier, singing a cheerful song. She even glanced at the guard to see if he would react. After getting quite impatient with the young woman's lack of respect, the soldier carried on with his business, leaving her alone with her silliness. That is because if someone is acting silly or trying to draw too much attention while near a royal guard, the soldier may move away to ensure he can continue his duties without interruption. He gave a clear goodbye to the girl, who was showing off for someone who needed concentration on the job. Although it is rare, when a tourist invades a soldier's personal space more intensely, he may react more forcefully. In the video, a young man clearly disrespected a royal guard. He mimicked the soldier's stance, stood next to him, and even touched him. Then he marched childishly, as if he were a toy robot. When the young man turned his back, thinking he was doing a good job and that his actions were being filmed, the soldier reacted moderately, striking the tourist right at the ear with his hand. Nevertheless, the most common practice is for the royal guards to use verbal commands commands to warn tourists to step back and avoid inappropriate interactions. They are trained to maintain a serious and professional attitude, even when faced with provocative behavior. When a soldier physically confronts a tourist, he may face an internal investigation. If the situation is deemed serious, punishments may include warnings, suspension, or even dismissal from service. Thus, soldiers have clear rules of conduct and must act respectfully, even when dealing with tourists' improper behavior. When a royal guard on duty performs a back-and-forth movement in the same place, it is part of the patrol and surveillance routine. The soldier carries out this movement to cover the area around the spot he is protecting. During the changing of the guard or ceremonies, this pacing helps maintain the soldier's rigid posture and ceremonial stance. Moreover, this movement ensures that the area is secure and free from threats or space intrusions. In this situation, the soldier was making his rounds, just doing his job, when a tourist, in a joking manner, decided to imitate him. However, the young man made the mistake of placing his hand on the soldier's shoulder, at which point the soldier turned around and pointed his firearm at the young man, ordering him to step back. The other young people who were filming laughed, but their friend must have been terrified, as he immediately stopped fooling around. This act by the royal guard was unacceptable. The soldier should only have pointed his service weapon to protect himself and others. He was probably subjected to an internal investigation and faced severe penalties afterward. However, that does not justify playing pranks on the royal guards either. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.